Shamar Bennette. I'm 24 years old. I'm going to share a brief testimony of how I gave my life to Christ. I grew up in a single-parent home. I was the last of 6 kids. At the age of 4, my dad passed, and my mom was left to raise us by herself. So as I grew up, the only male role model I had to look to was my older brother. And my older brother at a young age got caught up in gangs, girls, selling drugs. The typical thing that a young black man would do growing up in a bad area. And as him doing just what he knew to do because of the area that we're growing up in, that was my only male role model, and I tried to follow in the examples of my brother. And my brother at that time was, he had a lot of girls, and that's one thing that really attracted me to him and wanted to be like him. And I remember at a very young age, I told my brother that by the time I reached 18, I would sleep with more women than him. And at that time, instead of slapping me in my head and telling me focus on school and stuff, he laughed and said that I won't. So at a very young age, I was very determined to beat my brother at this challenge. And this is a focus in the path my life decided to go on. As I was growing up, I tried the gangs, I tried selling drugs, I tried that lifestyle, and early in my life I knew that it wasn't for me. So one of the things that every young black guy has in the neighborhood is a basketball net. So I gravitated towards that, and I just continued to play basketball. I realized that I was very good at it, and I also used it to get girls, because girls are attracted to athletes. And so I went to grade 9, and this is the first time where I really heard the gospel. Growing up, I grew up in a religious background. My mom always spoke about Jesus, but I never actually heard the gospel for what it is. And in grade 9, a man came and ministered the gospel to me. And because I had a foundation of Christianity, I believed everything he said. And I received it at that time, but because I wasn't really grounded in it, I never had any root in it. As quickly as I received it, as quickly as I turned away, and I pretty much went back into my lust and this desire for girls. And so from grade 9 to grade 12, I can say I got a lot worse in my sin. I pretty much grew more in my sin, and that whole entire time I was just manipulating women, using everything I can to manipulate women and get what I wanted out of them. And at the same time, I was pursuing basketball. So when grade 12 came, I had an opportunity to go to the States to pursue basketball. So I took that opportunity to go to the States. And as I was out there, within the first month of me being there, I tore my ACL, and because I wasn't covered with health insurance in the States, I was forced to come back to Canada. And as I came back, this really put me in a position to really think about my life. I loved basketball with all my heart, and I knew that if I continued, there was a good possibility that I could have made it to the NBA. But I started to contemplate, is the NBA worth my soul? During the time when I was in the States, a friend of mine got saved and really got serious with the things of God. And when I came back, he kept ministering to me and telling me the gospel, telling me that I'm living in sin, I'm on my way to hell, and I need to get saved. And as I was going through that, I started to contemplate, is basketball, girls, all these things that I was putting before God really worth it? And there's a time when he invited me out to a men's group. So a bunch of the guys from church were met up and just going over things in the Bible. And he invited me out to that. And I didn't want to go, but I had nothing else to do. So he said, just come once. So I went. And at that time, I wasn't planning on giving my life to Christ. I was contemplating, but I didn't plan on doing it that day. We went there, and I just seen the guys going over the Bible, and that God has really moved in these guys' life. And I was just looking at my friend, for example, and I seen that God really moved in his life. And just as I was there, I just really felt the need to get saved. And one of the brothers prayed with me, and I got saved that day. And I can't say there's a supernatural experience like birds coming out of the heavens or anything like that, but I did sense a change within me. When I left the meeting that night, I was living with my girlfriend at the time, and I went back to the house and I told her, I gave my life to Christ. I'm going to live for God. I don't want to do this anymore. I told her that I know I can't be in this relationship because if I want to serve God, I can't be in this relationship with you because I know I'm going to continue to fornicate and continue to live a sinful life. So I told her that I'm leaving this relationship and I'm giving my life to Christ. So I went to church. I went to the following concert after that, and the gospel was really preached that day at that concert. And I just made that genuine decision that day, January 13th, 2010, to really commit myself to God. And as I did that, I opened my heart to God, and God has completely changed and transformed my life. The same woman I left to say I wanted to give my life to Christ, I got married to 6 months later. 6 years later now, we have 3 beautiful kids, married for 6 years. And God has tremendously blessed us and elevated me in the things of God. And now I have a genuine purpose and vision in life, not one that is temporary like the NBA, which only lasts about 10-15 years, but one that is eternal, one that doesn't only affect me but affects the people around me, the people that I can invest my life into. And since giving my life to Christ, Christ has tremendously changed my heart from the inside out, and He's continuing to do a great work in me. John the Baptist said to the Pharisees, "Who told you to flee from the wrath to come?" So the first reason why I would say someone should accept Christ is, one, to flee from God's wrath, God's judgment upon sin. The Bible says that all have fallen short of the glory of God. We're all born into sin. And the wages of our sin is going to be death. So if we pay the price for our sin, God is going to have to be the just judge and judge us according to our sin. So the first reason I would say is to flee from that, from hell, torment of hell, eternal separation from God. The second thing I would say is to have a complete and divine intimate relationship with our Creator. He created us for Him. And for us to continue to live in sin and neglect that, we're taking ourselves out of the purpose of God for our lives. So those 2 reasons are the reasons why I think someone should give their life to God. 1, to flee from the wrath, hell, the torment of that. And 2, to enter into a divine intimate relationship with Jesus Christ.